It's unboxing time. All right. We just received our Wilson Audio Sabrina V speakers. For those of you who don't know, Wilson came out with the Sabrina V a couple of months ago. We just finally got ours, and here they are. Well, one of the speakers. I'll unbox the other one later, spare you the torture of watching this. By the way, if you like to walk on the treadmill, or you have some time to kill, think of watching these unboxing videos as a way to help you kill that time. Don't just write in the comments, unboxings are a waste of time. Of course they are. We know they are, but it's fun. It's Christmas. All right, so here we go. With the Sabrinas, they come in cardboard boxes, so they don't come in crates, easier to manage, and of course it helps save some of the costs to the end user. However, they are typically shipped on a skid, protect the speakers, and as you can see, they are strapped as well. So the first thing we do is cut the strap. There we go. All right. Now, if I'm not wrong, this is the top. At least in the past, when you look at the label in the top here, it tells you that the speaker is on the top. On the side of the speakers, they are stenciled with arrows marking the direction of the speakers. In other words, this way up, which means that's the face of the speaker. But it's not always clear where the top of the speaker is. So I'm going to assume that's the top like the past, which means I'm going to lower this speaker, take the top off, and voila. Was I right? That's the top. I was right. So where the sticker is, that's the top of the speaker. All right, so here is the, wow, big accessories box. We're gonna have to open that in a moment. Manual, catalogs, and wrong way. Okay, here we go. Okay. And I'm just going to slide them out now, if I can. Okay, it's generally easier if you have two people, but AI still hasn't solved that problem yet. So that's it. That's the speaker. We're done. See you later. Okay. This is a finish they call carbon, which is like a gray metallic. We've got the plastic on here. By the way, when I visit the factory numerous times, it's always amazing to me to see the gentleman who's responsible for putting the plastic protection on. They call it the frisk at the factory. This gentleman does an amazing job to be able to put the plastic, to apply the plastic in such a way that you see virtually no bubbles, and do it in such a way so that when you tear it apart, it comes off properly, so that there are different sheets that are applied. So when you take the top sheet off, it also leads you to the second sheet. So it's much easier to take them all apart now. Also, the frisk has improved so that in the early days, the frisk was made of a different material. Well, maybe the same material, but the composition wasn't so good. So when you started to pick at it, it would come in small little chunks. It's like when you cook hard-boiled egg. You know what I mean? And you're trying to take the shell off, and it breaks into these thousands of little tiny chunks. And when you end up peeling everything off, you're left with almost no egg. It's the same kind of thing. When you're trying to peel the plastic off, it comes in small little chunks. And at the end of the removal of the frisk, first of all, you have almost no fingernails left. And it's taken you, no joke, an hour just to get one speaker uncovered. It's insane. The new materials are much, much, much better. Okay, so here we go. It's a three-way design, as you can see. The woofers are the same ones as you see in the Sasha and the What Puppy. The mid-range is the same 7-inch Quadramac driver with the Alnico magnets that you see from the XVX all the way down now to the Sabrina V. So this is the first time the Sabrina has this driver. So that's one of the differences. The tweeter, of course, is also a version of all the tweeters that they use throughout the line. Now, it's called the Sabrina V because of numerous changes. The previous Sabrina was made for 5 years, 2020 to recently 2025. So 5 years later. The enclosure is made of a number of materials. The H material, which is new. It's a similar material to the X, but slightly softer, and it's used in the front baffle here. And according to Wilson, that new material allows the Sabrina to sound a little bit more musical. The V material, which is at the bottom of the speaker, which I'll show you later, and then the X material, which is the strongest of all the materials, it's the rest of the cabinet. Now, if we look at the back, this is new. This little opening here is where you can now have access directly to the resistors. But now you can just easily have access to the resistors and change them as you want to, either for voicing, or it's recommended that once every 2 years or once a year or so, and if you play your music regularly, to replace the resistors. In the past, with the Sabrinas, you had to tilt the speakers upside down at the bottom and remove a panel to get access to the resistors. Not anymore. And then finally, the binding post, that's the same binding post as you see from the XVX. Okay, now that's what you can see that are the improvements made to the Sabrina V. However, there are also internal changes. The crossover, the Sabrina V uses the latest generation Wilson capacitors. As some of you may know, Wilson Audio bought a company called Reliable Capacitors, who supply many of the high-end companies with capacitors. When the owner of the company wanted to retire, he asked Wilson if they wanted to buy the company, and Wilson decided to go ahead and buy it. So now all the capacitors are made in-house and designed in-house by Wilson Audio. So there's a latest generation of the copper capacitor that's inside the crossover, as well as a new capacitor designed specifically for the woofers. So that's new as well. And then finally, I was going to show you the bottom. Okay. So there we go. That's the V material. So when you take the spikes and you install it here, the spike body is coupled directly onto the V material, and the V material's whole intent is to reduce or minimize vibrations. So the cabinets, whatever is left over of the cabinet vibration, gets minimized by this V material. And then of course when the spike goes into the ground, and any returning vibration also gets minimized in resonance. The resonance is minimized by the V material as well. So that's the speaker. And now I'm going to open the box. Now you'll notice, by the way, it says here Sabrina silver or black. Silver or black is it means the color of the hardware. So you'll notice that this is called the diode, and that's the spike, and it comes in black. You can also order these in silver or natural, as we call it. So this part, when you order your speakers, you don't only choose the color of the speaker, you also choose the color of the grill and the color of the hardware. So if you choose silver or natural, this would be a light color just like that. And all of the hardware would all be in that finish, and so would be the spikes. And then last, I'm just going to show you, this is the diode. This is the bolt that goes underneath the speaker, and then of course that's the spike. Now normally what I do is I thread the spike in such a way so that I've got about 3 threads left over here. Okay, 3 threads, right? And then you thread this in like so. Okay, and then finally, now this is the important part. This bolt has 2 sides, as you can see. One has the hex opening on one side, and the other side does not. Always make sure that this part goes in to the diode. Always make sure. So this goes in here. Yes, that's right. Sorry, I had to think for a second. And the reason for that is this. So let me just show you. You've installed this into the speaker, And let's say it's been a year, 6 months, however long it's been, and it's firmly in there. And then for whatever reason, you have to move the speakers, which means you have to take the spikes out. When you take the spikes out, sometimes this part of it, stainless steel part of it, gets left in the speaker because of the friction. So when you start taking it out, it'll come out like this. Now you've got this, but you don't have this, right? And if you've installed it correctly, you now can take an Allen key and remove this bolt out. Okay, so that's the reason why this is very important. The Allen key part must go into the diode, right? Otherwise, you're going to have to use a pair of pliers or vice grips, God forbid, to try and wrench them out. And that's not good because you might damage the threads. Okay, and that's it. Now, so in terms of the parts that you get, you've got this lovely microfiber. You've got this tool here with different adapter heads. These are the different hex key sizes. This is the other Allen key, which I presume is for this. Pair of spanner, the bolts, and then this is to tighten the binding post. Very important. You want to tighten the binding post enough that it's snug, but you don't want to over tighten it. You could break the binding post, which is a pain, at which point you got to replace the whole thing. Okay? All right, so that is the Sabrina V. Let me give you some additional details. The price of the Sabrina V is $28,000 US for the standard finishes. If you go on the website, by the way, Wilson has a very nice website. You can see the different standard finishes as well as the optional upcharge finishes. And then if you really wanted to, you can also choose what they call the pearlescent finishes. Those are expensive, but they're gorgeous. Oh my God, they're gorgeous. So if you wanted to, you can also choose those. They also have a configurator program that allows you to choose the speaker and then put different colors on so you can see what the speakers look like with the different grills and with the different colors of the hardware as well. I think I've covered everything. I have. All right, so anyway, thanks for watching this. We're gonna break these in, and then the three of us, the three musketeers, are gonna get together and do a comparison and review them for you. All right, we'll talk to you again next time. See you later. Bye-bye.